The next item is a proposed board policy on student engagement in the local control accountability plan. It's not an action item. I brought it to the board for discussion, and it largely comes from and was inspired by our own Emery students who helped to draft the concepts behind it. We committed at our June 12th meeting that we, well, the superintendent then, Sugiyama, committed, and the board supported that commitment, that we would come back and adopt a board policy around student engagement around the LCAP. And very few districts have done this in the state. We have some students here tonight, including our student member. Brea, would you like to come and kind of discuss the motivation behind the student engagement policy? Introduce yourselves, please.
Sure. My name is Brea Williams. I attend Emery High School as a sophomore, and I am also a member of the board and a member of Youth Together organization.
My name is Leah Muhammad. I'm a junior at Emery High.
Speak in the mic, please.
My name is Leah Muhammad. I'm a junior at Emery High, and I'm also part of Youth Together. So we're here because we wanted to, because we think that it's essential for student input to be encompassed in the LCAP process, because we have firsthand experience with the kinds of policies that are voted on and implemented here. And we wanted to say that student leadership is key to quality education for all students.
So a couple of things that we had talked about the first time we proposed the proposal is we had a couple of demands, but the demands weren't harsh and they weren't rude and cruel. They were just demands to help us understand the how the LCAP works. So a couple of our demands, I don't directly remember them all, but it says at least one student on every committee that Emeryville has, because it's important for student leadership, as my partner Aaliyah had said, for us to it's important for us to know what we're talking about and understand how the LCAP works. Another demand that we had was student-friendly language in every single piece of document that came out, because usually when you come to talk about the LCAP or with students, no one knows what it is, or when you give us something, we don't understand it because of the language that is used, and it's not used for K through 12 language. And we feel that it's more important for us to be able to understand it because it is used towards us. And lastly, before we go, our last demand, there's further demands in the policy if you'd like to read that, but it says student-friendly hours for the meetings, because most of the meetings do go around the times where we're like getting ready for school the next day, or we have to do homework, and homework is a big necessity for graduation, keep your grades up. So it's really important for us, and that's pretty much why we're here. We just wanted to refresh the board's memory and let everyone else know while we're here, just in case you weren't here the first time we came. That's all.
Okay.
Any questions?
No, I have some questions for you. Yeah.
Oh, I'm back now. That's my season over.
Where you been?
Hoping.
On this, one of the things that the students proposed last year was really committed, in essence, in the policy, that students would help with 5 sessions or focus groups to gather input from your fellow students.
Yes.
And further, assist with 2 parent forums during the year.
Yes.
So my question is, can you guys deliver on that? Is that still, do you have the capacity to do that? Or is that, maybe you were feeling energetic last year and
I would say that, I'm sorry. I I would say that we don't have the same means that we had last year to organize the same way, but we're fully willing to do that still. We just need to, we need to work on it. We've regressed a little bit, so yeah, we can.
Should we keep those numbers in there, I guess?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And last year, I brag about the work you guys did last year, and you bragged about it to the state board in July, I guess it was. But you gathered input from, I think it was 36% of the students, at least the high school students,
Yes.
on what they wanted to see in the LCAP, and many of those things got in. Now you've committed to 50%. Is that a number we should keep in there? That would be great. I think the 36%, you're already higher than probably any high school in the state.
Well, so far as this year goes, we feel like you should keep the numbers in because we are fully committed to making sure that everyone at Emery or in NAH understands what the LCAP is. And it's amazing that we're at 50%, but we do feel that we can get higher, and we just need to keep working at it. So don't take us out. Don't take the numbers out, but keep them in. We're dedicated to keep going.
Okay. Don't sit down just yet, because maybe you have some further thoughts. But I had some questions for the superintendent, which is that you've had a chance to review this. Do we have the capacity to deliver on our end? And I'm thinking about the trainings to students, translation of some of these education materials and documents to students in understandable language, even English. Do we?
Spanish or Spanish, yeah.
That's in there too.
Yeah.
That's in there too. Right, but just even English, translating the educationese is something we need to deliver on.
I think we would make every effort to do that. I think that this is one of those situations where we've, as you know, we've also cut a lot of staff here at the district this year in order to try to help us with our budget situation. But I would be committed to helping in with this effort in any way I can. But we might need a little bit of outside help if possible. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. And we also have Ms. McDonald here who's going to be helping with the LCAP. Is that right?
Yes, correct.
And so she has hopefully some capacity to help.
Yes.
Do you see tasking her with some of the student district responsibilities? How would we do that?
It's possible. We're tasking her with everything right now, because she's which will eventually put her over the brink at some point. But a big part of her role is the LCAP piece, as is the high school programming and work that we're working on today. So I think it's possible. I would need to do some planning with Ms. McDonald first around it to see what's doable.
Okay, so you'd like to think about how to implement this, and are there? This is your opportunity, and you can say, let me think about it some more. But to identify pieces in here that you think are not doable, we don't have capacity, or you want to think about how we can do it.
I would need to look at it. I would need to look at it over with Ms. McDonald some more, and think about what we've got. Just getting, making sure we're facilitating the LCAP process with the parents and the teachers and students, which I think is important. In general, even if we weren't doing everything in here, is going to be difficult for our timeline. So I would need to evaluate this a little closer with Ms. McDonald. But I'm certainly, my heart is committed to seeing this happen because I think it's important. So anything I can do to do this, I will do.
Okay, I've got one more question, at least for you guys, but maybe some of my fellow board members do. You propose 2 representatives per grade level, 8 through 12, to be on a student advisory committee. Is that still a good number? Is that the right grade span?
We think 2 might be a little much right now,
Mm-hmm.
but we definitely want that to happen. We want the committee, and we want us to be able to share information with each other, but 2 per grade level might be not the number we're thinking of.
Should it be 1 to 2
1 to 2 per grade level.
for now, and you can think about moving
And
that
of
up
course,
later?
the students would be voting on who we want to sit at on the board per grade level.
Okay, and can you reach down into the 8th grade? Are you still, I know you're doing some work with the 8th graders last year.
Yeah, I think the 8th grade is important because they will be the
Yeah,
freshmen next year at the high
exactly.
school. So, of course,
That,
8th grade
great,
too.
great.
But
Okay.
that's something I can't make that decision. We'll
Mhm.
talk about it as a group and get back to you next time.
Okay. Other comments, questions from other board members?
No, I was just, I'm just really excited because I think you guys deserve that seat. That's why I'm so glad you're here this evening. I know meetings aren't always the easy thing to do when you have homework and other commitments, but I do agree with this being brought forward and glad that you're representing it because I think it's really important to ensure that student voice is represented in everything, and it's not only should be, it's a supposed to be, so it's a requirement. So I think even though we may have some difficulty implementing, I do want to see this move forward toward, an action and something that the board can revisit and, ensure, and definitely the person at that seat could, keep us honest on that. So I look forward to it coming back to us for certain to make sure that that issue that you raised last year and you all did a wonderful job doing it, and that you're still holding it, that is something that we could act on from a policy standpoint and support your efforts and your desire to get information. So I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Just real quick, one, Bria, we miss you. And two, just take a moment to remind yourselves and to look at what you're doing, because it's a big deal that you're being involved, and it's very hard when you're in the work to lose the fact that you are doing something really big and beyond yourselves, and that deserves some credit. So just, I'm reminding you to take that moment at some point to be like, oh, this is pretty cool that I'm involved. This affects the students more than anybody else, so it's great that you're involved and you're speaking on behalf of your peers. So, good job.
Thank you. Is that it?
Okay, do we have any, thank you. Do you have any final parting thoughts or comments?
I'll be back next board meeting.
All right.
Right.
Great. Do we have any public comment on this item? Okay. Yes. Good.
Okay, I'm short. But hello, good evening. My name is Nikita Mitchell. I currently work for OUSD Meaningful Student Engagement Office. I also support LCAP student advisors in Oakland Unified, and I'm also a part of Youth Together. And so I just wanted to come up here and share that what the students are presenting is a part of a statewide initiative to get more student voice in how our resources are directed. And so, I also want to offer Youth Together up and my office specifically for cross knowledge exchange if you want to continue to think about and build out a plan to bring student engagement to this very critical initiative. So I wanted to offer up that as a resource and say thank you for considering that.
Great, thank you. Now, one question for you, since you offered. I believe Oakland is one of the few districts in the state that has adopted a student engagement policy. Can you send that to our superintendent so that we have that to look at as well?
I definitely can.
Great,
Okay.
thank you. All right. So I guess it's the time to ask the board if there's general support to direct the superintendent to take this proposed policy and bring it back to us as an action item.
I would agree with that.
It's just a discussion item, so I think we're
Okay, then yes,
just here for
absolutely.
kind of a direction. Yeah. Okay.
Can we get
Any
a
obje?
timeline?
Yeah. Well, we got to do the LCAP by June 30th, so I think we probably need it back at at least the second May meeting.
Or at least policy-wise. I mean, policy comes
Yeah.
after, as long as there's effort, but policy-wise, I just want to make sure we get something in front of us.
Yes, the second May meeting. Well, I guess, I think two things should be going on at once. And the work can be going on before we actually see the policy and finally adopt it. So I think we do want to see a student advisory committee and, at least one student in grades 8 through 12. And so I think it would be wise to get that in motion, even if we haven't formally adopted it as a policy, is my sense of the direction of the board. Yeah, and that, that we see the policy back probably in the May meeting, one of the May meetings.
Got it.
Okay. All right, thank you. Thank you, students. On to